10 years ago, I made a video asking one simple question: where is Dawn of War 3? At the time, Dawn of War 2 had been out for many years, and THQ had gone under, and it looked unlikely that Dawn of War 3 was ever going to happen. It was the biggest video on this channel, and 2 months after I posted it, Sega answered me. I said on the record that if they made Dawn of War 3, I would buy it 5 times. That was a stupid thing to do. I cursed it, and I bought it once, and that was enough. So now, here we are, 2026, Dawn of War comes out in September, and I'm scared. I'm really excited, but boy, is it with a pinch of salt. I have been playing Dawn of War for over 20 years, since 2004. It is the game that got me into 40k. It is a universe that is so stupid, but so incredibly fun. I collect Orcs and Necrons on the tabletop because of these games. I can't fathom how much money Games Workshop has gotten from me because of the original Dawn of War. It is probably one of the most important game series to me up until this point. That is why Dawn of War 3 hurt. And it had probably one of the best trailers I've ever seen, and generated so much hype. But it was outsourced, and the game that showed up had a completely different aesthetic to that trailer. This caught everyone off guard. Now, at the time it came out, there was a lot of criticism. The big part of it was how much of a MOBA it was. It seemed to be chasing the MOBA fanatic that was happening in the mid-2010s off the success of League. There was also smaller things that the community was pissed off about, like Gabriel Angelos doing backflips in Terminator armor, which, of course, is valid, but I feel like that stuff was more of a symptom than the disease. It was a signal that the people were making a different game to what it should have been when you look at what actually shipped. Despite its focus on multiplayer, it had one mode at launch, Power Core, where you knock down shield generators, then a turret, then the core, which is pretty much lanes. And there were elites so strong that your actual army felt like it was made of cardboard, which in turn was kind of like heroes. It had mass battles that the series was built on, but because everything died so fast, they became the least important thing on the screen. It had 3 factions, which is fewer than all the other Dawn of War games. And it had a campaign that forced you to swap factions constantly, which made the very first half feel like a really long tutorial as it slowly dripped you different units for each faction. There were all these little polish elements of Dawn of War 3 that just weren't there, that made it feel hollow. One thing that's really important to me is the music. The Eldar theme in Dawn of War 1 was fantastic and played whenever you played the faction. Now, this is the Eldar theme in Dawn of War 2. Similar faction, similar soul. Now, the closest thing you get in Dawn of War 3 is a track that sort of plays sometimes in the campaign, and it's generally linked to Eldar, but whenever you play the faction and multiplayer, which is the focus of this game, their faction theme does not play. You get the same generic song that plays for all factions. This is what I mean when I say this game felt sterile. The campiness and the character identity that you associate with Dawn of War was gone. And this was the disease that was kind of gripping through Dawn of War 3 when it came out. Players felt it. There were 23,000 of them gone in the first 2 months, which is a lot considering the size of the game on release. By early 2018, there were fewer than 500 people playing worldwide. 10 months after launch, Relic completely pulled the plug. All content plans were cancelled, including the faction that they teased they were about to add, the Necrons. So what did Relic do? They went off and they made Age of Empires 4 and Company of Heroes 3, and then in 2024, Sega sold the entire studio. So the people who invented Dawn of War didn't own it anymore, and whatever was going to happen next was without them. This brings us to Dawn of War 4. We have a new developer, King Art Games, and it's coming out on September the 17th. It's set on Kronus, the planet of the Dark Crusade, which is one of the most fondly remembered Dawn of War 1 titles. This has 4 factions at launch, one more than Dawn of War 3 managed. Each has their own campaign, 70 plus missions, all of it co-op. The faction identity might be stronger than I've ever seen in this series. The Orcs are all about momentum, can build anywhere, and the more they make, the more they can make in turn. The ad mecha here, after decades of not being represented in any of these games. The Necrons, the faction that was teased at the end of Dawn of War 3, finally comes out with their own campaign. And of course the Space Marines. One big thing that we're getting now are the sync kills are back. They've developed an entire animation system where when two things are fighting and one's about to win, it will enter a synchronization animation as one decapitates or kills the other in a really cool way. This was a cornerstone of the first two games that Dawn of War 3 removed, and is part of that soul destruction and sterility that third game had. This is a massive part of what makes these games feel like 40k. So why am I so scared? Because we've seen this exact thing play out before, and despite its issues, Dawn of War 3 did say a lot of the right things during the development. And King Art's last RTS, Iron Harvest, while gorgeous and really cool, didn't hold people. Sounding right and playing right aren't the same thing. I do think the community's different now though. It feels like half of everyone at a 40k got here after 2020, and it feels like people are a little bit more willing to give things a go than they were in 2016, where we were pretty feral. So here's where I land. I am cautious and hopeful, watching every Battlefield report frame by frame like it owes me money. If King Art pulls this off, and if it plays the way it sounds, then this is something that I haven't dared say in 10 years, but I think I may buy it 5 times. Let's hope it goes better this time.